we need to start that over, don't we? Hi guys, I'm Amy. Welcome back to my channel. I have been buying some books lately, which is shocking to no one, but if you're interested to see the books that I've acquired lately, then go ahead and keep on watching. As always, these books are in no particular order, and the first couple that I have here are finishing up a series for me, and that is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb and Assassin's Quest. So this is book 2 and 3. I recently read Assassin's Apprentice and enjoyed it, and I'm excited to continue the story, especially now that I know Robin Hobb's writing style and the pacing of her books, which threw me off a little bit initially with Assassin's Apprentice, but I'm really excited to be getting around to the rest of these, and my husband and I will be reading these as buddy reads, which is also very exciting. Very much looking forward to see where Fitz goes in the rest of these stories. The next couple books that I have for you are books that I purchased for my Women in Translation readathon, which is happening in just a couple days, and the first of which is Touch by Adanya Shibli, translated from the Arabic by Paula Haidar, and this is a novella about a young Palestinian girl, and it's just about her day-to-day life. It says here it's about her fighting with her siblings. She's the youngest of 9 girls, and falling in love and learning to read, and how they're all set on this backdrop of the national tragedies happening in Palestine. And I am just really looking forward to this book. I just discovered it haphazardly. I'll link the website down below where I found it and where it was recommended to me. And is this book not gorgeous? And the second Women in Translation book that I purchased is The Book of Happiness by Nina Berberova, and translated from the Russian by Marion Schwartz. And this is a book about a Russian woman who is a transplant to Paris and kind of comes into a point in her life when she loses a childhood friend to suicide and is called to the scene, I believe, in which she is looking back on her life and how she came to be living in Paris and her childhood. And she's also married to her invalid husband, who's brilliant, but she feels very tied down from him. I don't believe I've read anything translated from the Russian, and I'm really excited about it. And I love books that reminisce about the past and how you got to be where you are. So I have really high hopes for this one as well. I got it from the same website, like I said, which will be linked down below. And this past weekend, my husband and I got to visit a quaint little town called Leavenworth, Washington here in the US for a friend's wedding, and they have the most amazing bookstore called A Book for All Seasons, and I found this book used, and that is the graphic novel Here by Richard McGuire. And I'd never heard of this book, like I said, and this book is all about the same geographical location throughout all of history, like prehistoric dinosaurs to when there's a house there or a plantation. And so everything takes place in that one spot, but you see little windows into the past and the present, and this sounds amazing. I seriously cannot wait to read it, and the fact that I found it used and it's just a beautiful book makes me all the more excited about it. Recently, I also found myself in Barnes & Noble, as happens with me and other bookish people, I'm sure, and I got completely sucked into their buy 2 get 1 free table, so I found 3 books rather quickly and decided to take them home with me. And the first of those is The Girl in the Tower, book 2 of the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden. I'm sure most of you know that the first book in this series is The Bear and the Nightingale, which is a book that is very inspired by Russian folklore and fairy tale, and I really enjoyed it when I read it and was just waiting for the paperback edition of Girl in the Tower to come out. So when I found it, I decided to jump on it. All I know is this continues to follow Vasilisa, and I don't want any spoilers for those of you who haven't read The Bear and Nightingale yet, but if you haven't, I do recommend it. The next one that I found is another book I've been meaning to get around to reading and buying and just haven't, and now it has. And that is The Little French Bistro by Nina George, and translated from the French by, I was not prepared for this, Simon Pear. And this is a book about a woman who's kind of having a midlife crisis, it sounds like, and she finally decides to leave her unhappy marriage and go off and into the town of, or the coastal area of Brittany in France, and discover herself. And I really enjoyed The Little Paris Bookshop, which was the first book by Nina George that I read, and I'm excited to kind of go back into her very cozy, warm, fuzzy, bookish world. And the third book that I found, I wanted to get when I found out this author will be coming to my hometown this fall, and that is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a post-apocalyptic story about a group of actors who travel around just trying to keep the arts alive in a time in which most people have died, I believe. I think it's an illness that comes through, or an epidemic, pandemic, however you want to phrase that. I've heard amazing things about this book and about this author, so I'm excited to read it and hopefully read some more of her works if I enjoy it before she comes in November. When I was perusing my favorite local used bookstore, I found Girl Waits with Gun, a Cop Sisters novel by Amy Stewart. I saw Olive from A Book Olive chat about this book in a haul, I believe, recently, and it just sounded like so much fun that I decided to just bring it home with me. Obviously I did. And this is about a group of sisters who are involved in a hit-and-run carriage accident of sorts, and they end up helping the authorities go and find this man who seems to be more sinister than they originally thought. And it just sounds like a fun, kick-ass group of women doing things they shouldn't. And that, I mean, it sounds great, and I just think the way this book has been published is just really fun, like an old newspaper. Again, just like a good lighthearted read for when I'm in the mood for one. I also have a few Book of the Month books, the first of which is The Dinner List by Rebecca Serle, and this is a magical realism story that essentially plays with the prompt of, if you could invite anyone to dinner, who would you take to dinner? And so the characters in this book include, let's see here, Audrey Hepburn and several other famous people, and her ex-boyfriend shows up, and it sounded cozy and interesting. I've been really enjoying magical realism stories lately, so I have high hopes for this one for sure. This next book might be a bit surprising to some of you because I recently read this author for the first time and really didn't enjoy the story, but I hate to just do a one and done with an author. I like to at least read another work by them, and that is Naomi Novik and her new book, Spinning Silver. I read Uprooted this last summer and unfortunately really disliked it a lot. I found a lot of faults in that book, and this is kind of the companion novel, I believe, to that. This is about a young woman who is from a family that lends money, and her father is no good at collecting on that, and so she begins to go out and collect the money that is due to her family so that they're not poor and destitute. And it's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. Now, I really do enjoy the story of Rumpelstiltskin. Apparently I can't say that today. I did do a play of Rumpelstiltskin as a first grader and was the bride slash princess person, and my teacher ended up having to be the king. So that was an interesting experience. But to say the least, I'm excited to give Novik another shot. I'm really hopeful that Uprooted just was, for some reason, a dud for me, and that I will find more to like in Spinning Silver. And this last book that I have to share with you guys is a book that I would say is the current BookTube darling of the community, especially in the genre of literary fiction, and that is There There by Tommy Orange. This is a book that follows a large group of individuals of Native American descent all coming together at a national powwow, I believe, and I've heard only amazing things about this story. I really enjoy books with a large cast of characters in which you get little bits of all of them and then they all kind of spin together, which is, to my knowledge, what this is about. I've not read a lot of Native American fiction, and I believe this is Own Voices, so I'm really looking forward to that, especially as this is with a modern setting, and I'm just stoked about it. I had to run out and get this book. Like, I paid full price for this book. I almost never do that. So I should probably get around to reading it sooner rather than later because I need to see what all this hype is about. Alrighty guys, there you have it. There are my newly acquired books to add to my shelves. I am really excited about a lot of these. What new books have you guys gotten lately? And if you've read any of these, please tell me your thoughts, good, bad, or otherwise. And if you liked this video, please like it. And if you loved it, please subscribe. And we'll see you in my next video. Happy reading. Then go ahead and, are you kidding me? Ah, Palestinian girl. Take the cow.
Okay, come on.
Oh.
If you love me and you know it, clap your hands.
What? Again, let's try that again.